Hey guys, I'm the Nixian. Darkness doesn't knock, it whispers. And tonight, it has something to say. Three stories, one ancient hunger. The Wendigo is listening, and so should you. Okay, so after reading the story about the person's gas station encounter around Missoula, Montana on Creepy Encounters, here is my lengthy story of a similar encounter, though I never saw the creature in its entirety. My husband and I were honeymooning by driving our camping rig on overlanding and dirt roads from ghost town to ghost town. We'd pick a town and camp near it for the night, and we'd been doing that for about a week. Nothing special or creepy happened at any point. Just some nature and some history. One town I was very excited about was Garnett, Montana. It's just about an hour from Missoula, and we'd call our friend who's an outfitter in Billings for a place to camp. He said just up the mountain there are flat spots. Now we have 17-year-old Tahoe with big tires, a rooftop tent, and sleeping quarters in the cabin, because we always travel with our 2 dogs and cat. So all we need is a decent spot, slightly hidden, and we're good. As we drive up the backside of the mountain off the main road, I see abandoned cars and a few rundown houses. Nothing too weird, but I can't shake the pit in my stomach that's growing. We get further up and past the parking area for the ghost town, and the higher we drive, the more my instinctive anxiety kicks in. You know, the flight or fight or flight. Adding to that, my dogs are going nuts. Of course, I wrote it off as them needing to get out. So we finally find a flat spot, and I realize my husband and I hadn't spoken the whole drive up, which is probably 45 minutes. He goes to get out of the car to see if it's leveled, and I grabbed his hand as the dogs are barking, whining, and pacing, and say, "Please don't turn the lights off." I think I saw eyes before we stopped. He just looks at me confused and says why he has to, but he'll leave the cabin lights on. When he gets out, all I can think about is how it's watching. I don't even know what it is, but I sensed it, followed us from where the eyes flashed. When he gets back in, I tell him not to let the dogs out yet, and he just says, "We just should go. Something isn't right." Now, we camp a lot and I get spooked, but my husband never does. We usually hang out and I relax, and it's fine. He's never left a spot because I've been alarmed. So when he said we should go, I knew he felt it too. We head down a different road, the paved one to Interstate 90, driving fast. I looked in the rear view mirror, but the dogs were in the way, and the tint is so dark you can't see well at night. But there was a rumble, like something big was running. The tension is growing, dogs are pacing, and he and I are bickering, and it starts snowing hard out of nowhere. We come around a turn, and a stark white rabbit dashes in front of the car, and we hit it. A hush fell over all of us after that, until we got down the mountain onto a side road. All anxiety we felt was gone. Cut to the other side of Missoula, where we camp, zero creepiness until the next day. As we are driving back to Garnett on the main mountain road we came out on, we notice a point when we ascend the mountain that we both start feeling nervous. I looked at my husband after we made the big turn and said, "Where's the rabbit?" It was gone. No carcass, no blood, no animal tracks, no trace it had been there. I can believe that something got it, but no trace of it? We were the first people up, no other tire tracks beside ours on the way down. And I would think you'd see blood or something, but it was gone. The snow wasn't deep enough to have buried it, because we could see our distinct tracks from the previous night. No rabbit. So we get to the ghost town and we're talking to the rangers about the creepiness on the mountain. And one of the guys say, "Yeah, there's something up here. I wouldn't stay by myself at night." And the other smiles and says, "What exactly did you see and feel?" So I tell him I felt fear, deep, primal fear, that it was old, not human, hadn't been human for a while if ever. I said it wasn't a ghost, and it wasn't a living crazy person. I said I felt like it wanted to eat me, which I know is strange, but I felt like we were being hunted. And I said at one point, I thought I saw its red eyes, but I couldn't be sure. And I think it followed us from where I'd seen the eyes, like stalking. He says, "There's a Wendigo up here. Do you know what that is?" I didn't, but when he described the lore, I almost cried. That was it exactly, down to the eyes. A few months later, I'm telling the story to my stepmother, who's been researching American Indian symbolism, and she says, "You know what rabbits are, right?" Of course I do not. Rabbits are often believed to be warrior spirits, and they say that when the rabbit comes, he's fighting for you. The rabbit sacrificed himself for you guys that night. A chill ran over me, and my husband looked at me and said, "After the rabbit, it stopped chasing us." I had never mentioned I thought it chased us. This story takes place in the backcountry of the area I grew up in. Be warned, some of this may be too frightening for some. Reader discretion is advised. So back in 2019, I remember there being a big uproar of unknown creatures roaming the forest, like Bigfoot and skinwalkers. But this story isn't about them. This story is about probably one of the scariest things I think I've ever heard about, the Wendigo. A few months after one of my friends, Jacob, mentioned this big uproar, I went to go see him since I had been away enlisted in the United States Marines. I got back after being discharged, and one of the first things I did was go and see him. We are having a good old time, and he brought up the idea of going out to a little hangout spot his now ex-girlfriend took him to when they wanted to get away for a few hours. So I decided, why not? So I grabbed my gun and we went out to this extremely secluded area and started messing around on the old dock that was there. It had been pretty much forgotten by the looks of it, poorly maintained, and some boards were almost completely rotted through. So about 30 minutes into our shenanigans, Jacob brought up the topic of the Wendigo. The name sounded a little scary even for me. Curious, I asked him about it. He said that if you went into the woods and said Wendigo 3 times, you would come across the scariest looking thing you've ever seen. Me calling his bluff, I told him to prove it. To this day, I wish I hadn't. We start walking on this little path that led deep into the thick woods close to the Alabama state line. We walked for maybe 20-ish minutes and decided we were in a good spot. I feel it's worth knowing that it had been raining a lot over the past couple days, so the ground was completely saturated with water. I turned to Jacob and he dares me to do it. I stood there in complete silence. The rest of the forest was almost silent as well, besides the tall pines swaying in the wind high above our heads. Reluctantly, I slowly started to say it. Wendigo, Wendigo, Wendigo. Then, nothing happened. I let out a silent sigh of relief at the fact that nothing happened. One thing about mine and Jacob's friendship is we loved it when one of us proved the other wrong about something. In our friendship of 10 years, I think it was one of the first times I had proven him wrong at anything. We started to talk a little bit of shit back and forth at each other when we heard a noise in the distance. Me still having the reflexes I had from the Marines, I immediately snapped towards the direction of the noise. That's when they started to turn into noises. I started to move closer to the noises, and then shortly after, we saw a few coyotes running across the path about 30 feet in front of us. I breathed another sigh of relief. But that relief didn't last long, since I knew something was up. I didn't know what was up at first, but I just knew it was time for me and Jacob to leave. As we turned to leave the woods, all of a sudden, a tall pine tree started to groan and creak as it started to come down. Noticing this, and in a moment of pure instinct, I shoved Jacob forward as the tree came falling through the rest of the branches and landed right in between us. Jacob let out a cry of terror as the tree landed, and I hopped the tree to get to him. I could feel his heart pounding like a drum as I grabbed him by his shirt and yanked him to his feet. He was still terrified and still practically crying as I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Move, Jacob, fucking move now." I spun him around really hard, causing him to fall to his knees. I quickly got him up and we both started to sprint down the path back in the direction we came. I didn't dare look back, and neither did Jacob. I was sprinting through the woods when a familiar sound came from behind me. "Jacob, Jacob, come quick!" It was the sound of Jacob's younger sister, Olivia. He turned and tried to get past me. The whole time he was screaming, "Olivia!" I stopped him and said, "Jacob, look at me. It's not her. Do you hear me? It's not her." Just then, another pine tree started to buckle. I saw it just in time to tackle Jacob down to the ground as both of us were nearly crushed. I screamed at Jacob once more, "Go, get out of here, go now." As I screamed, I pulled my gun out of my waistband and aimed it down the trail in the direction from where we came. Jacob made it to the opening of the trail and turned back and noticed I was still aiming my gun down the trail. "Bradley, get out of there. Come on, hurry." I turned and started sprinting towards him. As I made it into the clearing a good 50 feet, I turned. Me and Jacob both saw it. The thing we had ushered into showing itself. The Wendigo. It stood about 9 feet tall on its hind legs. There were practically no meat on its bones. It had really skinny legs and even skinnier arms. Its skin, a pale white, almost like a vampire. But the thing I noticed the most about it was the eyes. A vibrant blue, almost like lightsaber blue for those who have seen Star Wars. Having had enough fear, I raised my gun and fired at the Wendigo. Jacob, not sticking around to see if I had killed it, turned and ran towards the car. I turned and did the same thing as he passed me. That was my first experience with this so-called Wendigo, and I pray almost every night I never have to encounter something that terrifying again. I honestly don't know where to start or if I'm ready to be posting this story of mine, but hopefully it'll help. I know you won't believe me, and honestly, I won't even blame you guys. It still doesn't make sense in my own head. I've heard stories about unknown creatures in the woods, but never thought I'd encounter one myself, you know. I posted another story about some creepy old people that I had encountered in the woods, but that's nothing. This makes a good horror story for people, but it eats me every day. But here we go. I love to go hiking. I go with my 3-year-old German Shepherd and let her go unleashed since we like to go to secluded places. Now I have been hiking all over Utah mountains and wanted a new hike that wasn't too far from me. I have an app that tells me about hikes near me, if it's a hard hike, reviews, and if it's dog friendly. Now, I was scrolling through AllTrail looking for possibly something new, but I wasn't too hopeful. But to my delight, there was something new. I don't know why I don't remember the name of it, but I do remember it was at the bottom of the list and it had one review saying good. I thought that was kind of strange, mostly because people love to review hikes and try to tell the city what they can do to improve the hike and make it more safe. But I figured it wasn't a popular hike. So the next day, Katie and I packed up our stuff and went up towards the hike. I always carry first aid kit, extra food, a knife, and just emergency stuff in case I get lost. It's important to mention now that Katie eats a raw diet, meaning she eats raw meat, not cooked. And since we were going so early in the morning, I thought I could bring some with us. I put it in her blue backpack I make her wear and decided when it was getting warmer, we would stop to eat. Where I live, there's a long drive through the canyon and many roads going towards the hike you'd like to go on. This one was a little further than I'm used to, but I didn't care. It was new and I was excited. So was Katie. She cries in the car until we get there. Now, I was following the directions on my phone and saw that it had led me towards a thin road that was hidden. No wonder I haven't heard of this place. It was hidden and far up the mountain. The road only could fit one car, so the whole time I was so anxious that another car would come down and how I would handle that. But there never was. I never saw another car. When I got to the parking lot, if I could call it that, I noticed there were space only for 3 cars, all in a tight space. It was small, so I decided to park my car with the front facing towards the road. I thought maybe it was private property. Checked the app, but it didn't say anything about private property. I shrugged it off, got Katie out, prepared us, and saw the trail. Now, even though I knew there wasn't anyone parked there, I kept Katie on a leash. I didn't know if there were bikers along the trail. But after 30 minutes or so, I didn't see anyone. I decided to let her off leash. It was a steep hike for the first half, but it was beautiful. We were deep in the woods and I felt at peace. I used to wear headphones when I hiked, but didn't anymore. So I was enjoying the natural sounds of the forest. It was still early in the morning, so I wore a light jacket and decided when it got warmer, I'd give Katie her breakfast. Now, before you start to hate, I know bringing Katie's raw meat was absolutely stupid and ignorant of me. I had never seen a bear or wolf or anything, so I got cocky, just thought it was okay. I learned my lesson the bad way, so no need to tell me I was dumb. But honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you commented that. Now, here is where we begin the bad part of the story. The trail finally stopped being steep and sort of an easy hike from here. When you got to the top, you could see through the trees a beautiful open meadow. On the other side of it, you can hear a river and a waterfall. The trail went around the meadow. The meadow was absolutely beautiful with the mountains in the background and the sound of water. This hike was almost the most beautiful one I had ever been to. When Katie and I were sort of in the center of the meadow, she stopped right in front of me and looked towards the meadow. Katie always walked ahead of me, and when she stopped, I stopped, since I trusted her judgment. Before I could look, the smell hit me first. You know, the typical rotting smell, but oh my god, words cannot explain how bad it stank. It burned my nose and started to make me tear up. I put my shirt over my nose, feeling nauseous, and looked over to where Katie was looking. In the middle of the meadow was a deer. Now, I've only seen deers, but never a male deer in person. But his antlers were huge. Have you seen Princess Mononoke? When she sees the deer spirit walking across the water and how big his antlers were? Almost like that. The beauty of the deer was amazing, but not enough to take away the disgusting smell that was making me sick. The deer was looking towards the mountains and away from me. I thought maybe Katie's food was going bad. I checked that and it seemed fine. When I looked up again, the deer was looking towards our direction. I noticed that Katie's hackles went up. She started to cry nervously. Now, I've heard of Wendigos and skinwalkers. I am Native American. It is common for these creatures to be in our childhood stories. That and also listening to scary stories on YouTube. Now, when Katie did that, I got a bad feeling in my stomach, despite the sickness. It was a Wendigo, and I knew that. Now, I didn't know what to do. These creatures were only a part of my stories to make me go to bed, not instructions on what to do. Plus, my grandmother was the only one with the stories and passed away. She was the one with the experience, not my mom or anyone else. I glanced at Katie again when she cried and looked back towards the creature. It started to stand on its hind legs. Holy hell, it was fucking tall, and it faced my direction. It started to walk towards me. I was going to run until I heard in my head, I am the one of this land. Suddenly, it started to run towards me. Full speed. I screamed, called Katie and started to run. Katie was following behind me. I started to cry as I was running since I could hear it catch up to me. It was loud. It was destroying everything it came in contact with to get to me. The adrenaline running through me was making me just focus on running. I didn't know where to go. I just ran. The trail suddenly got smaller and bushes with thorns started to appear, but I didn't feel them as they cut my arms. As I heard it got closer, it suddenly went to the left as I ran straight. I somehow had the balls to look back to see it was gone, but also Katie. Katie? I said, but right as I called out for her, the trail ended with a foot drop onto a patch of rocks. I hit my head, bleeding a bit. But again, I couldn't feel it that much and just got up. I looked towards the forest when I suddenly heard a loud cry from my right. It was Katie. Katie! I cried out. I stood up, crying and lost at what to do. I looked back to see a river leading up to the waterfall, I heard. Suddenly, a heavy weight ran into me and we both fell back. I hit my head again on the back and looked up to see Katie. Katie had blood all over her. It was pouring from her neck. Katie, I cried out. She was whimpering and breathing heavy. She still had her backpack on with some cuts in it. Before I had a chance to help her, a scream came from the forest. I looked back at the waterfall and somehow had the strength to pick up my 85-pound dog and carry her. I don't know where I was planning to go. I was just running to the waterfall as if it was a safe place. I was almost there when I heard the creature land on the rocks that I did early. I tripped at that and looked back to see it was looking at me. Its eyes were black, or I think so. It could also be that there wasn't anything in there. I don't know. I took off Katie's backpack and threw it towards the monster, hoping it would take the meat and just leave us alone. I was scooting back towards the waterfall, crying as I did so, holding and dragging Katie with my left arm. I found that being so close to the creature made me literally weak to my knees. It walked over to me, taking huge steps. It looked so different than before. Before, it looked like a deer. And now, as it crawled over to me, it looked like a monster. I don't know how else to describe this awful demon. I don't. I'm sorry. But I felt water hit my head hard as I had reached the waterfall. I kept going until I was up against the wall. There barely enough space where water wasn't hitting Katie and my face. Katie felt limp at this point. I could somewhat see the creature through the water, but still saw it coming towards me. It stood on its hind legs when it was close enough to me, watching me. The smell was disgusting. I couldn't help but throw up in my mouth. It reached its arms to grab me. I screamed so loud I actually lost my voice. After I let out that scream, another scream came from the deep forest. The creature snapped its head almost completely backward, looking towards the scream. The scream sounded like the one this one had let out earlier. I was still holding on to Katie, crying and screaming since its arm was close. It looked back to me, pulling its arm away, and again said in my mind, "I am the one of this land." With that, it took steps back watching me and went down the river bank. It crawled on all fours, stopping next to Katie's backpack. It ripped it apart, pulled out the meat, eating it with the plastic bag that it was in. It suddenly screamed and ran towards the direction of the scream from earlier. When I thought it was gone, I stood up shakily and carried Katie towards the trail again. When I was running, I came across my backpack that I had left earlier and stopped. It was ripped apart, so I took off my jacket and wrapped it around Katie's neck where she was bleeding a lot. After that, I barely remember. All I remember is carrying Katie and driving down, screaming the whole way towards the emergency vet. They asked us what happened and I told them it was a bear. They called the ambulance since I had blood all over me and they couldn't tell if it was mine or Katie's. Katie made it through surgery and had to have some stitches on her, along with a pad. It didn't really heal and a huge bump grew on there. It had been infected but eventually got better. She also had a bite mark on the top of her left eye, but that healed much better. They pulled out a 4-inch tooth. I don't have it because I couldn't even look at it, but they declared it from a bear, even though they said it looked weird. While I was waiting for Katie, I went to look up the trail on the app, and it was gone. I don't know why or how, but it is. I don't remember where it is either. That's all a blur. I have some pictures up of Katie. The one with my niece is a hike my mom took her on with my niece. It had been weeks after and my mom thought to try and help her through it. Katie looks nervous in the picture, but you can see the huge bump on the left side of her neck. There's also a picture with Katie and her bandages around her neck. And the one that is the most recent of her neck, it's black. The stitches came out. The last picture is of the top of her head, also black, but it's healed now. I'll find some way to post them. I haven't been hiking since and I refuse to let Katie go. The time my mom took her, she did it while I was at work, but regretted it because she said Katie was crying and was so scared they had to just go home. My mom knows I screamed at night from nightmares for a week or two. My mom put white candles in my room to get rid of the bad spirits attracted to my negativity. So yeah, here's my story. I've heard stories where people saw a Wendigo and they didn't get harmed. And God, I wish I went through that. I hate hiking. My therapist thinks I may have some PTSD, but only knows of it as a bear. I'm getting through it. Katie is too. Hopefully, one day I can go back, but I don't see that being for a while. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. If this kept you curious or gave you chills, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, sleep well. Bye-bye.